hello, everybody. Please smash that like button on your way in, please. Would be appreciated. I've got a bunch of information here to share with everybody. We're going to wait until more people get in here so I don't have to repeat things. Smashing that like button also sends it out to the algorithm that lets people know that we are live. I want to get a bunch of people in here, so please smash that like button. I want to get a bunch in here before we start, just so I don't have to keep repeating things. So just exit the chat, click that like button, and come on back in. When you come back in, make sure you have live chat selected at the top so you're not missing anything. Hello, Marie. Thank you for being here. Hello, Vera, Jennifer, Merritt, Chris Lex. Hello. Please smash that like button on your way in. Let people know we are live so we can get going on this quickly. Smashing the like, it lets everybody know that we are live. So please do that, and it's free to do. Hello, Jenna, April, Tammy, Curly Sue, Brianna. We have got some information to share with you guys that we did not know. And this is the full report. So please, again, I'm going to ask, smash that like button. Let people know that we are live so we can get going on this quickly because there's a lot to go through. Hello, everybody. Brenda, Angela, Chrislex. Hello. Grit, Amanda, Comptute. Hello. Please smash that like button so we can get going on this. Hello, Judy. The quicker we smash that like button and get it out there in the algorithm, the quicker we can start, guys. It just saves me from having to stop halfway through and start repeating stuff. So please, it's free. 27 people in here, 38 people in here, only 27 likes. Hello, Teeny, Teresa, Deanna. Hello. Please smash that like on your way in. Let people know we are live. This is some good information. We've got the full medical examiner's report. We got the reports from when they first arrived at the scene, what they found, and there's a lot more than what we thought, guys. So please smash that like so we can get going. You're very welcome. Hello, Jenna. Hello, Deanna. Please smash that like button on your way in. And we will get going on this. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, everybody who smashed the like button. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mary. Mandy C. Hello, everybody. Okay, so let's get going on this, you guys. I'm going to share my page so you guys can read along with me. I just got my hands on this. It was just released. Here we go. Hello, Nana. Hello. And yes, happy Valentine's Day to everybody. We are going to get going on this. We have the full report. There's a lot in here that we did not know, and it kind of makes a lot more sense now. I wasn't planning on doing a live right now, but I got my hands on this. I didn't think I'd be able to get it until tomorrow, but we got it. So let's get into it. Just to let you guys know, I will not be able to see. Well, I'll be checking the chat. I only have one mod in here. Shivani, I'm going to make you a mod. Do you mind? Just to help out because I've only got one mod in here. Would you mind helping mod so if any of the trolls come in or stuff like that, you can help out? Okay, I got Marie and Summer Dawn in here now, so I should be okay. But I do have a couple mods, so they can keep a check on the chat, because like I said, I'm not going to be able to look at that and look at this too. Okay, that's okay, Shivani. I do have a couple in here now, so I know my sister's really tied up, so I don't know if she will be able to make it in. I did message her. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Okay, smash that like button, please, you guys. Got 46 people in here, only 42 likes. Let's get the 46 likes in here, and we will get going. 47 people in here. Please smash that like. Jump out of live chat. Click the like, jump back in. When you come back in, please make sure you click live chat so you are up to date with everything in the chat instead of top chat. That's all I ask. Please smash that like on your way in. That's okay, Shivani. I've got a couple mods in here now, so we should be good. Mods, let me know. Let me turn on my other phone so you guys can message me if you need me to slow down chat. Just message me on the number that you guys have. Tammy Lou, hello, hello, hello. Please smash that like. Okay, let's get going on this, you guys, because we got a lot to go through. When I seen this, I haven't even read through. I got through the first 2 pages and I said, okay, I can't do this. I got to bring this to my subscribers. You guys know that when I do finally get my hands on stuff like this, I bring it to you as quickly as I can. So let's get going. So this is the full report. There's a lot in here that we're going to see that we didn't know. So this is for, as you can see up here, Brian Christopher Laundrie, found on October 20th, County of Sarasota. Okay, so on October 20th, 2021 at 9:30 hours, which is 9:30 in the morning, I was contacted by Sergeant Furtono from the Northport Police Department in reference to an apparent human skeletal remains. The remains were discovered in the Carlton Reserve, north of the Mahachi Creek Environmental Park, located at 6968 Riserton Road in Northport. Sergeant Furtono advised that a massive search had been ongoing in the Carlton Reserve for several weeks by multiple agencies for 23-year-old white male Brian Christopher Laundrie, date of birth November 18th, 1997. On October 20th, 2021, at approximately 8:20 hours, search groups, and this was his parents. This was his parents. It wasn't search groups. It was his parents. Found a backpack and shoes that were identified as belonging to Brian Laundrie. The personal belongings were surrounded by apparent skeletal remains that were scattered on top of the dirt ground. I was informed that the evidence response team from the FBI, along with cadaver and electronic detection dogs, were responding to the scene to assist in locating additional human remains. You're very welcome, Judy. Okay, so I contacted Dr. Vega, Dr. Broussard, Director Winterhalter, and Chief Investigator Andres, and provided them with the information from above. At 12:45, so that's like 12:45 in the afternoon on October 20th, I was contacted by Detective Keller from the Northport Police Department, who advised that he was the lead investigator for the agency. The apparent human remains were located at, and they give the latitude and longitude, which was within the Carlton Reserve. At 1400 hours, that's 2:00 in the afternoon, same date, October 20th, the director, Winterhalter, contacted forensic ondologist, oh my God, I can't speak, you guys, Dr. Nancy Havens, and requested forensic odontology consultation. That's regarding bones and stuff. So at 16:05, which is 4:00, same date, I was contacted by Sergeant Furtono, who advised that they were requesting the office of the District 12 medical examiner to respond. At 16:20 hours, same date, Chief Investigator Andrews contacted Dr. Heather Welsh Haney and Dr. Claes and requested anthropology consultation to assist with the examination of the skeletal remains at the scene the following day. So that would be the 21st. There she is. There's my sister. Aw. I kind of figured you were busy, sis. Okay, so here we go. At 1700 hours, same date, this is the 21st, the next day, Chief Investigator Andreas, Investigator Convener, Investigator, all these investigators, and the examiner arrived on the scene. We were transported to the location of the apparent human remains. Upon arrival, we met with Carrie Harvey, team leader of the FBI evidence response team, who walked us through the scene. The team leader, Harvey, informed us that the search area was previously under approximately 3 feet of water, which was indicated by the water line upon the surrounding trees. The search area was divided into a main scene and a secondary scene. Both scenes were marked with orange flags that indicated apparent human and or animal remains and red flags that indicated personal effects. I photographed the scene and I observed with a Nikon digital camera. At 17:30 hours, the same date, Dr. Vega and Broussard arrived on the scene and examined the skeletal remains. Please refer to Dr. Broussard's report for further details. The scene was north of the Makahatchee Creek Environmental Park within the Carlton Reserve and west of the Big Slough Canal. The scene included trees, overgrown vegetation that had total exposure to the outside elements. A winding, walking, and vehicle trail, I give up, ran in the northwest direction up to and through the scene. The skeletal remains and personal effects were in plain sight and scattered upon the dirt ground. The main scene contained human remains that included a right and left scapula, right humerus, a left and right femur, 2 tibias, 2 fibulas, 2 clavicles, 2 pelvis, 1 right, only 2 pelvis. There's 3 pelvis bones, but there's only 2 that they found. 1 right ulna, 1 right radius, a sacrum, multiple ribs, multiple skull fragments, along with the maxilla and mandible, and approximately 25 vertebrae, cervical, thoracic, and lumbar. Dr. Broussard confirmed the remains in the area to be human. So there you go. There was more than just the skull that they found. I just happened to look at chat and seen that. So Jeff Collins, get out of here. Okay, so the main scene also contained personal effects that included a pair of green shorts with green belt, 2 slip-on shoes, a backpack with unknown contents, a white metal ring, and an unknown type of handgun, a snub nose revolver. Okay, so this is part of, that's okay. Rosie's here too. Thank you. Good. I got a bunch of mods in here now that can take care of that stuff. I just happened to look up Summer, it's okay, and seen it. So I ask you guys, please smash that like button, exit the chat, smash the like, and come back in, please, so we can get this out there that we are live. We got 87 people in here, only 66 likes. I did jump on, taking my time out of my day. I had some things planned that have been put on hold so I can bring this to you. It was just released. So please smash that like button. I appreciate it. It's free. Please, please. And then when you come back in, please make sure you got live chat selected at the top so you don't miss anything. Okay, so let's continue. The secondary scene contained a skeletal animal remains, a handwritten half note, and a hat with the logo Moab Coffee Roasters. I was informed that a dry bag was located that contained a journal along with a wooden box that contained a small notebook and photographic picture of Brian Laundrie. I was advised that there were additional photographic pictures, but the contents were undisclosed to me at that time. 2,000 hours, 2,000, 20, you know, I hate this time, the way they say it. Anyway, same date, all personnel from the District 12 medical examiner cleared the scene. So they really weren't there that long. Investigator Cavender transported skeletal human remains that included cranial bones, maxilla with existing teeth, and mandible with existing teeth that were processed by the evidence response team of the FBI to the Sarasota Medical Examiner facility for potential identification purposes. The remains were logged into the morgue at 22:21 hours, same date, so the next day on the 21st. So smash that like, you guys. On October 21st at 8 o'clock in the morning, Director Winhalter met Dr. Nancy Havens, forensic ontologist at the Sarasota Medical Examiner facility, to assist with forensic odontology or something like that. I can't pronounce it. Please refer to her report for additional details. I know how to say it right now. I'm just so tired, you guys, and I've been running all day. I haven't had a chance to even rest. At 9:06 hours, same date, I contacted Dr. Udeshi from the Sayville Family Dentistry in New York and requested the descendants' dental records, radiographs, along with corresponding physician notes. I learned that the agents with the FBI were able to obtain the dental records and radiographs on behalf of the District 12 medical examiner. Upon receiving the records and radiographs, they were provided to Dr. Havens. At 10:10 hours, same date, I was contacted by Detective Keller, who advised that they believed the located additional bones from the descendants' left arm bones within the main scene. So they found more bones. At 1300 hours, the same date, Chief Investigator. Okay, let me edit. Okay, I'm editing it right now, you guys. Okay, I've got it on subscribers only. Sorry for anybody that is in here. Subscribers only can chat because there's just too much trolling going on. Let me know at any point, sister, if you need me to slow the chat. Do you need the chat slowed, or is it okay? Can you guys handle it the way it is, or do you want me to slow it? I think with it just being on subscribers only for chat, it should be good. Anybody, you're good? Okay. Sorry, my sister sent me a message. I do kind of catch it out of the corner of my eye. If you light me up, sis, if you tag me, I see the orange. Okay, where was I? Okay, so there was additional bones from the descendants' left arm bones within the main scene that they found. At 1300 hours, same date, Chief Investigator Andreas, Investigator Walker, and I arrived at the scene. At 1300 hours, same date, forensic anthropologist Dr. Walsh, I said it right, Haney, and Dr. Klez arrived on the scene, at which time they were walked through the scene. At 13:15 hours, same date, Dr. Broussard arrived. Okay, we made contact with Carrie Harvey, team leader of the FBI evidence response team, who advised that the main scene was divided into 3 zones, which were designated for sifting purposes in search for additional human remains. Zone 1 contained remains of the upper torso, upper extremities, and head. Zone 2 contained remains of the lower vertebrae and sacrum. Zone 3 contained remains of the left arm bones. A systematic search was conducted by all agencies involved for the recovery of additional human remains. At 16:05 hours, same date, I contacted Brasota Services and requested removal of the remains from the scene to the Sarasota Medical Examiner's facility. At 16:20 hours, same date, I was contacted by Director Winterhalter, who advised that forensic, here we go, odontologist, there we go, I got it. Dr. Nancy Havens positively identified the human remains as 23-year-old white male Brian Christopher Laundrie, date of birth November 18th, 1997. Through the comparison of the antemortem, dental radiographs, and dentition, including postmortem radiographs, to known dental records. Oh boy, all these words, you guys. But I got the odontologist. I can say it now. Okay, at 16:25 hours, same date, a projectile was located near Zone 2 of the main scene by the evidence recovery team of the FBI by utilizing a metal detector. Zone 2. So I don't get this. Zone 2 had contained remains of the lower vertebrae and sacrum. So it's like, what did he do? Shoot himself in the stomach? I don't get it. Thank you, V. Thank you so much, V. I appreciate you. Thank you, Will. We appreciate you bringing this to us today. Braves, blessings. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you guys throwing the super chats or super stickers out to show your thanks. It's not required, but I do appreciate it. Thank you. So it's saying that a projectile was located near Zone 2 of the main scene. Up here it says Zone 2 contained remains of the lower vertebrae and sacrum. You would think that it would be found in Zone 1, where the upper torso, upper extremities, and head were. Let's continue. All additional human and animal remains, along with personal effects, were collected and inventoried on site by the evidence response team of the FBI. Please refer to the reports from the Northport Police Department, and they give the reference numbers, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, I can't talk today, I'm telling you, for further details. The FBI case represented a crime on government reservation and crime of violence that involved the descendant. So they knew right when they found him, because they said the FBI case represented a crime on government reservation and crime of violence that involved the descendant. So they knew right then and there that Brian was responsible for Gabby's death, even though it wasn't released that Brian was responsible for a couple months later. At 1700 hours, same date, forensic anthropologist Dr. Welsh Haney and Dr. Klez cleared the scene. At 17:45 hours, same date, Dr. Broussard, Chief Investigator Andreas, Investigator Walker, and I cleared the scene. Dr. Broussard advised that a skeletal examination and inventory would be scheduled for October 22nd. On October 22nd at 9 o'clock in the morning, Dr. Vega, Broussard, Klez, and Investigator Rogers and I met with Dr. Walsh Haney and Sarasota Medical Examiner Facility to conduct an inventory and photograph the skeletal remains with a Nikon digital camera. Please refer to Dr. Walsh Haney's report for further details. Dr. Walsh Haney transported the remains to the office of the District 20 medical examiner for anthropological examination and reconstruction. Detective Keller and lead agent Bush from the FBI arrived at the Sarasota Medical Examiner's facility. Detective Keller reported that the descendant's sister informed that the descendant was right-hand dominant. Detective Keller informed us that the descendant was last known alive on September 13th, 2021, when he left his residence to go hiking in the Carlton Reserve, but the descendant did not return home. On September 14th, the descendant's vehicle was located in the parking lot of the Makahatchee Creek Environmental Park. On September 17th, the descendant was reported to the Northport Police Department as a missing person. During this time period, it rained for several days, which caused portions of the Carlton Reserve to be flooded. On October 7th, the flooding receded to the point where the Carlton Reserve was hikeable again. Please smash that like button, you guys. We've got 90 likes and 100 people in here, so 10 of you, please show some support. Doesn't cost nothing to hit that like button. On October 26, 2021, at 1200 hours, I contacted the descendant's parents, Christopher and Roberta Laundrie, and explained the District 12 medical examiner's involvement, and I directed Mr. and Mrs. Laundrie to contact the Northport Police Department and the FBI for further information in regards to the autopsy results and additional investigative information. Mr. and Mrs. Laundrie informed me that their son was very healthy and had no known medical history. The descendant did not take any medications and had no known primary care physician. When I asked the descendant's social history, Mr. and Mrs. Laundrie stated that they did not want to provide that information. I wonder why. Like, this is the autopsy and investigation into your son's death. Why would you not want to provide that information about his social history? Wow. At 13:26 hours, same date, so this is on October 26th, I was contacted by Detective Keller, who advised that lead agent Bush from the FBI notified him that the firearm collected at the scene was evaluated. The firearm was European American Arms 38 Special on barrel, 357 Magnum other side of barrel. Based upon the markings and appearance, the firearm was a Windicator revolver. The cylinder contained 2 live rounds and 1 spent round of ammunition. On November 9, 2021, at 1100 hours, Dr. Welsh returned the descendant's remains to the office of the District 12 medical examiner. I photographed the reconstructed remains with a Nikon digital camera. On November 11th, at 10:30, at the request of the FBI personnel, 2 sections of femur bone and a tooth, a molar, were retained for DNA analysis. They were transported to the Pinellas County Forensic Laboratory and delivered by myself at 10:55 hours on the same date. On November 19th, at 13:13 hours, I received a laboratory report, a DNA analysis via electronic email from Tina. I'm not even going to try it. Jazz, nope, not going there. Of the Pinellas County Forensics Laboratory. The notification was a confirmation on the identity of the human skeletal remains on the case. The remains were identified as 23-year-old white male Brian Christopher Laundrie, date of birth. The notification was signed by Beth Orderman, DNA analysis. So they had a lot more than what we were told. The above additional information was immediately provided to Dr. Vega and Dr. Broussard for further review. On November 22nd at 9:40 hours, I contacted lead agent Bush and discussed the descendant's positive identification through DNA analysis. At 1200 hours the same date, I contacted Detective Keller and discussed the descendant's positive identification through DNA analysis. On November 23rd, I contacted the descendants' parents, Christopher and Roberta, and discussed their son's death certificate certification. So that's the end of his report, but there's more. Now, I don't know if this is going to be repetitive. This is the scene investigation. Okay, so the Northport Police Department. I'm not going to read all of this, you guys. There's 47 pages here, but I will go through it slow enough that if you guys want to go back later and read it, you can pause it and read it. But I think a lot of it's going to be repetitive of what we've already heard. These are just different investigators' reports. But the initial information on Northport Police Department contacted on-call investigator Ron Busby at 9:30 hours on October 20th, indicating that they believed that the remains of the missing individual, Brian Christopher Laundrie, had been found in an area where searches had been initiated several weeks prior. Reportedly, in the morning hours, Northport Police Department had groups of personnel that discovered bones and personal belongings consistent with Brian Laundrie. It wasn't the police that discovered the belongings. It was his parents. The Federal Bureau of Investigation response team, along with cadaver dogs and other search groups, were continuing to lay out the area where the remains were found. Our assistance was not requested at this point. Later in the day, Investigator Bubsky was contacted to request our response to the scene. The remains were reportedly located, and they get the longitude and latitude and where they were again. Police personnel transported us 1 mile from the environmental park entrance into the Carlton Reserve where the remains were found. Late afternoon was warm and dry. They're just going over again, you guys. I'm just going to skim through this. You can skim through it as I am if you want. The scene was a wooded, low-lying area with multiple patches of trees with underbrush mixed with some areas of open canopy. The ground is moderately dry with lower areas having both damp and wet spots. Saying that like when he arrived, there was tents and canopies already set up by law enforcement agencies. They were briefed. Again, they were saying that this area was under at least 3 feet of water for an extended period of time. So a lot of this is repetitive. So there was human remains, animal remains, and evidence that were labeled with flags for documentation. Adjacent to the main scene area, a small, currently dry stream bed with a slightly but noticeably deeper elevation is orientated in general east-west direction. Okay, so walking the main scene with the detective disclosed human remains, including the right and left sculpae, right humerus, right femur, 2 tibiae, 2 fibulae, 2 clavicles, 2 pelvic bones, the sacrum, 1 right ulna, 1 right radius, and multiple ribs, also multiple fragments of cranium and skull, along with a generally intact mandible with attached teeth, and the lower aspect of the maxilla with attached teeth are noted. Cervical, thoracic, and lumbar vertebrae are also located nearby within the main scene area. Several personal effects are pointed out, including a pair of green shorts in the leaf debris approximately 20 feet south from the cranial fragments previously described. 2 slip-on shoes approximately 10 feet apart from each other. A white metal ring, a short barrel revolver handgun with extensive rust are noted on the ground near the previously described cranial fragments. There you go. in 10 to 20 feet west of the larger cranial fragments in a green backpack associated gear, including a tent and flares. With associated gear. So he had a tent and flares too. The tent was still in the backpack and was not set up. Approximately 250 feet east, in what was initially designed a secondary scene, multiple animal bones are identified. A piece of paper and a red hat with the logo Moab Coffee Roasters are noted in a grassy area. We are informed that an apparent dry bag was located in another area approximately 250 feet southwest of the main area, which contained a journal, along with a wooden box that contained a small notebook and photographs. Some of the photos include Brian Laundrie. Okay, so they're just saying that they have how they labeled the bags. 9 teeth. Okay, so HR1 contained the maxilla palate with 9 teeth, and HR2A contained the mandible with 15 teeth. These are to be examined as soon as arrangements can be made. And they're leaving. This guy's leaving. He's saying that he went back to the scene. Okay, so he went back for assistance in the identification and collection of any further human remains. The team collected all bones identified the evening prior and labeled them into evidence bags, documenting, logging, and photographing each bone and or evidence collected. They talk about the markers. Zone 1 contained the remains, including those of the upper torso, right upper, and both lower extremities, and a head. So his body, like his body area, his head, his arms, and legs were all found in Zone 1. Zone 2 contained remains, including several lower vertebrae and the sacrum, and Zone 3 had a left upper extremity bones. Systematic research. Like I said, I'm just going to skim through this and see what isn't a repeat. Okay, so a systematic research of all zones is conducted for additional human remains. In the north area of Zone 1, near the base of a large tree and the dry east-west oriented creek bed near where the majority of the bones were found, including the craniofacial bones, which are the face bones, the handgun and white metal ring. A surface dig is done by the medical examiner, investigators, forensic anthropologists, evidence response team members, and myself. Each zone is excavated to approximately 6 centimeters deep using trowels and shovels. All the leaf debris and excavated dirt were placed into 5-gallon plastic buckets and then sifted through 1/4 inch screens into large blue tarpaulin, which was set up nearby. This process led to finding 9 additional cranial fragments, 2 upper central incisors, so those are teeth, fragments of those teeth, and 1 hand phalanx, all from Zone 1. These are added to the remains collected and logged in. Approximately 1625, one of the members of the FBI evidence response team discovered a projectile with her medical detector approximately 50 to 60 feet south of the area where the skull fragments and handgun were initially located. This was in approximately 6 inches of dirt. So it had to have gone in one side and out the other of his head, and 50 to 60 feet. I find that hard to believe, really, that it went that far after passing through his skull. The remainder of the skeletal remains were inventoried by the FBI, packaged as evidence, released to the medical examiner. From the park staging area, packaged bags from scene day 2 included excuse me, these numbers, with the exception of HR 34 and HR 35, which were confirmed as animal remains, are transported to the Sarasota Medical Examiner facility. The scene is consistent with skeletal remains of a single individual that appear consistent with a moderately young male. The cranial fragmentation and presence of a handgun are consistent with a gunshot injury of the head. Full osteologic examination and cranial reconstruction will be performed to identify potentially specific gunshot evidence. All non-human remains evidence is collected by the FBI for further workup and evaluation. Overall documented geographic evidence with data point location diagrams and reports are to be completed by the FBI. And this person leaves the scene. So that was his report. We have everybody's report here, you guys. Okay, so the report of the autopsy. This is a summary of autopsy and skeletal remains. Skeletal remains, single individual. Scattered remains, bones without soft tissue, so there was no tissue left on the bones. Most with post-mortem scavenging, carnivore activity. So animals got to them. Near complete skeleton. So there could have been some flesh on him, but not very much because they're saying it's near complete skeleton. Okay, positively identified antemortem dental radiograph and record comparison, gunshot wound of the head with extensive associated craniofacial fractures. So most of the fracturing was done the cranial area, face area. Please refer to the separate toxicology report. Oh, there's a separate report for toxicology. Cause of death, gunshot wound to the head. Manner of death, suicide. Okay, so the skeletal remains are consistent with a young adult male. The vast majority of the skeleton has been recovered. So they got mostly all of his body. So they'll be able to tell height approximately. You know, they can still tell a lot from just the skeletal remains. The level of skeletalization is generally complete, but for minimal areas of endopicore-like white sheen on some of the vertebrae. No soft tissue remain, but for minimal, partially calcified coastal cartilage at the anterior aspects of some of the lower ribs. Multiple long bones, including bones of the arms and legs, all disclose carnivore predators activity, characterized by gnawing and chewing, mostly on the distal ends of the long bones. The cranium is in multiple pieces and fragments, as will be described below. Most of the bones have dark discoloration, consistent with the dark soil material where the bones were recovered. Skeletal inventory. Oh, this is a lot, you guys. No, they weren't under dirt. Good grandma, they were on top of the dirt. But they dug down just to make sure, so when the water receded, it could have buried some more fragments or whatever. But they were on top of the dirt. It said that at the beginning. Please smash that like button, you guys. Okay, so they're talking here about the remains, and then that some were initially designated as human remains, but were later confirmed as non-human and kept by the FBI. So HR 81 and 82 were also non-human ribs, confirmed as such during autopsy. So HR 1, right and left maxilla with the right and left palatine bones initially examined with 9 teeth. Mandible with 15 teeth, left. Oh my God, you guys. Whatever. I'm just going to skip it. Bone with portion of the temporal bone fragmented. What's left? Siphonod bone. with portion of the temporal. I would assume that would be in the temple area. Bone fragmented. We're not going to understand half of this, you guys, unless you work in the medical field. Occipital cranial. Okay, that's part of the head. Piece with some left bone attached. Cranial piece with portions of the left and right parietal bone, occipital bone, right temporal bone, and cyanoid bones. So I don't know, maybe sciences. Don't laugh at me because I'm just guessing. But I'm assuming this is all, because I got cranial, this is all part of the head. Frontal bone fragment with some partial left and right parietal bones. Portion of the frontal bone with left parietal bone attached. Left scapula, left clavicle, right hand metacarpal. So that's near the wrist. Cervical vertebrae, 7. Intermediate hand flanges. So that would be probably like the outer areas maybe of the hand by the baby and baby finger, and the other side being I don't know, part of the hand. Single cervical vertebrae. This is like, single cervical vertebrae, proximal hand phalanx, 3 left ribs, partial right maxilla with, that's part of the jaw, with right sphenoid and right temporal bone and portions of the right zygnomatic, never mind, I skip it. Bone as a single skull fragment. Good grammar is going. Red flags. What did I miss? Did I miss something? A single rib, right rib, and 3 left ribs. So the other ribs that they found were animal. Oh, there was a gunshot, so. Oh, God, here comes more. Sphenoid bone fragment, a single right rib. Oh, this, okay, so there's more. There's more right ribs here. HR 18, there's a rib. So these are the different bags that they put them in. So they could have been found at different times and just put in separate bags. Right first rib, 2 other right ribs, and the manubrium sternum. All right, single right ribs. They found a whole bunch of ribs, you guys. Intermediate hand phalanx. Oh my God, right. Oh, I'm glad I never went into forensics. I'm glad I backed out. Right metacarpal bone, 2 pelvic bones, left and right, os coaxi respectively. Okay, so there should be 3 pelvic bones, right? Our fingers, 100% sure that the phalanges are fingers. Okay, we found some fingers, you guys. Left rig, right metacarpal, 2 right ribs, and the sternal body. And these here are individual vertebrae, cervical vertebrae. These are individual left ribs. Proximal foot, toes. We've got some toes. Maybe. Metatarsal. Somebody should be looking these things up. 1 right metatarsal, a left calcaneus, whatever that is, proximal and intermediate hand flanges. Some more of them. Some more fingers. Right 12th rib. How many ribs do we have? I didn't think we had that many ribs on one side. But anyway, another right rib, another left rib. These are all 6 thoracic vertebrae. Another thoracic vertebrae, 12, and lumbar vertebrae 1, 2, and 3. Oh, that's where my back is broke. The lumbar vertebrae is 1, 2, and 3. Right metatarsals, left metatarsal. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing this right, but at this point, you guys, I'm so tired. Lumbar vertebrae 5, lumbar vertebrae 3 and 4. Wait a minute. How can they have a lumbar vertebrae 3 and 4 in bag HR61 if they have lumbar vertebrae 1, 2, and 3 in bag 56? Lumbar vertebrae 3 is already in bag 56. How can they have it in bag 61 too? Interesting. Right clavicle, right rib, thoracic vertebrae 11 and 2 other thoracic vertebrae to be designated. Thoracic vertebrae 9 and 10. Sacrum, this thing. Proximal and another finger. Metacarpal, right radius, right ulna, metacarpal and metatarsal respectively. Fibula. This bone, cuneiform bone, metacarpal, metatarsal, right femur, another fibula, right tibia, left femur. Non-human ribs are in bag 81 and 82. Right humerus and proximal hand, another finger. Find fingers all over the place. Oh, we're not done. Left ulna, left humerus, left tibia, right scapula, left radius, cranial fragments, cranial fragments, cranial fragments. So that would be fragments of the head. Left first rib, cranial piece with nasal, maxillary, and left zygomatic bone fragments. More cranial fragments. Temporal, so that would be the front. I know that. Front of the head, of the cranium, fragments. More cranial fragments. It looks like, yeah, it was all over. Left temporal, so I would assume that's the left temple area of the cranial fragment. Multiple cranial fragments are in different bags. Another bag, multiple cranial fragments, 2 upper incisors, those are teeth, and 1 distal hand. Oh, a finger. Radiographs disclose no metallic fragments or densely radioplaque material consistent with foreign bodies. So there was no metal fragments found lodged in any bone or anything. This is like, I'm glad I'm not eating. In summary, we should just jump to this. The vast majority of skeleton is recovered, so most of it is. The cranium is extensively fragmented with mandible generally intact and the lower aspect of the maxilla generally intact. That's so the lower jaw, each with some teeth present as described. Missing bones include 1 mandibular tooth, 5 maxillary teeth, up to 5 craniofacial bone fragments. That's the bones in the face, like cheekbones and stuff, I guess. So this is what's missing. So there's up to 5 craniofacial bone fragments with a moderately large area of the left temporal, lower left parietal, and superior wing of the left somethingnoid bone is absent. So that's probably where the bone, the bullet came out. I'm assuming. Like, I learned at least that you're going to have more bone fragments on the exit wound, the exit in the skull, than you will have on the entrance. Okay. Also absent are the hyoid bone and the thyroid and cricotid cartridges. The exfoid process is absent, which I have no idea what that means. So I said you guys can go back through this again and look it all up if you want. The ethmoid and lacrimal bones are absent, as are both patellae. For completeness and quality of tarsals, metatarsals, flanges, and all bones, please refer to the separate. Oh gosh, there's another examination. Okay, evidence of injury. Peri and postmortem. As previously mentioned, skeletalization, total soft tissue decomposition, and moderate to extensive animal predation is noted. Most of the distal long bones have moderately extensive carnivore activity evidenced by multiple gouging and gnawing marks. These areas are consistent with carnivores and or omnivores, including canines such as feral dogs and coyotes, along with rodents and raccoons. No gator. The cranium will be reconstructed for further evaluation along with a full osteologic exam for more precise changes and examination. The extensive fragmentation with comminuted intersecting skull fractures is consistent with a gunshot wound of the head. No alligator got him. There was no. The areas that were gnawed on are consistent with carnivores and omnivores, including canines such as feral dogs, coyotes, along with rodents and raccoons. Post-reconstruction of the cranial examination. The cranial bones recovered included 27 cranial fragments of various sizes, along with the mandible, that have been reconstructed. 8 additional small fragments, thin sinus fragments, were not reconstructed. The reconstructed skull is near complete, having the majority of the major cranial bones, and creates a clear picture of the perimortem trauma to be described below. Let's see if I was right with, before we even look at that. I want to take a little 1 or 2 minute break here. Take a drink of my coffee. Stop in and say hello. Thank you for the super chat. Take a look here at, hello Cindy, hello Cat H. I'm just getting to look at it at the chat now. Okay. So let's see if I was right. From what I remember from back in the day when I started, when I wanted to go to law school. I knew that. But then I decided I wanted to try and maybe do some forensics, but it didn't, no, couldn't do it. But I do remember them saying that you will have more fragmentation on the bullet coming out of the head than you do having going in. So let's see if I remembered correctly. In summary, extensive fracturing, including comminuted and intersecting linear and basilar fractures with associated cranial fragmentation, is consistent with gunshot wound trauma. Evidence of a single perforating gunshot wound entering the left temporal cranium and exiting the right middle inferior parietal cranium just above the temporal bone is identified. Something doesn't make sense here, you guys. Because they're saying that there's evidence of a single perforating gunshot, which means an entrance wound entering the left temporal cranium. So he was shot on the left side of his head. He was right-handed. And it exited the right side. Why would somebody who's right-handed shoot themselves in the head with their left hand? And this was just released, you guys. This this report was just released. I want to know why. And like I said, I didn't have a chance to see this. I got to turn my heater around here. I didn't get a chance to read through this before jumping on. I got through the first 2 pages. I got to bring it to you guys. He was told to the police from his sister and I believe parents, he's right-handed. Why would a right-handed person shoot themselves in the left side with their left hand, left side of the head? It doesn't make any sense. But Kat, there's no indication of that. None. The gunshot wound enters the left side of the head, causing an area of extensive fracturing where the majority of the left temporal bone is absent, along with extreme inferior aspects of the left parietal bone and portions of the posterior left whatever wing. A 5.5 by 5 centimeter area of bone defect absent is noted without definitive circular or semicircular defect and or beveling due to bone absence. The presumed exact entrance point is centered in this defect and is estimated at approximately 5.8 centimeters below the top of the cranium, 5.5 centimeters above the left external auditory, so right above 5.5 centimeters above the ear. So like there's why no, I'm right-handed and I'm holding my finger to my head. There's no way that somebody would use their left hand to shoot themselves. They would use their right hand, their dominant hand. Like, you want to make sure you do it right because you don't want to miss and just sit there in pain. You want an instant death. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to kill yourself, you want an instant death. You don't want to feel any pain. So you're going to use your dominant hand, the one you use all the time, so you don't miss. Ugh. Something's up here. The exit wound is located on the right middle inferior bone, just above the apex of the temporal bone, and is measured 4.5 centimeters below the top of the cranium. Okay, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm calculating this in my head. Okay, so it entered 5.5 centimeters above the ear, and it exited 5.5 centimeters above the right external auditory canal. So exactly the same. Like, that was a straight across. Boom. There's no way that he did that with his non-dominant hand. And you would want to make sure, if you're going to shoot yourself in your head, you want to die instantly so you don't feel no pain. The guy's a wimp. The guy was a pussy. He's not going to sit there and bleed to death and whatever. And there was only one bullet used out of the gun. The exit perforation is near circumferential, measures 11 to 12 millimeters in diameter. And has a clear outer table beveling. No gunfire associated with bone discoloration, soot, or lead pipe were noted. Okay, so there's no gunfire associated bone discoloration. So there's no stippling or anything in the bone, which if he put the gun to his head, directly to his head and shot, there would be some kind of evidence of stippling there, and there's not. Therefore, overall pathway or trajectory of the gunshot wound is left to right, very slightly upward, and having little to no significant front and back deviation, which means he was holding steady. Try and do something as steady with your left hand as you do with your right hand, especially if you're right hand dominant. I don't think he would have done that. I think it would have been his right hand, boom, to his head, no missing. It was a pistol. There's no way he could try and do that. Hold a pistol to your head with your non-dominant hand and try and use your dominant hand to try and help pull it. You're going to move. You know what I mean? The gun's going to move. This looks like it didn't move from the area it had entered, and then the area it exited is almost in a straight line. I'm thinking that too. Maybe somebody else shot him. Maybe somebody found him and shot him. Like, here you go, street justice. I'm surprised that this is not. Maybe they talk about it at the end of this. We're only on page 15. There's 47 pages, you guys. So we may have to make a second video. Or I will just scroll through it, and so you guys can stop and read as you want. But I don't see this happening, especially for somebody who's out to kill themselves. They're going to use the hand they always use to make sure they don't miss. Associated with gunshot wound are multiple linear intersecting fractures, including a fracture from the entrance, fracture defect to the superior left orbit, a linear fracture from the upper bone across the left frontal bone across the coronal suture, and ends as it intersects a fracture at a medial posterior left parietal bone. Small radiating fractures emanating from the entrance defect are noted of the adjacent left bone. Linear fracture is the upper aspect of the entrance, crossing the mid bones through the sigil suture and ultimately intersecting fractures with the exit defect on the right. An 8-centimeter linear fracture intersects the above described 17-centimeter fracture on the left mid area. Continuous. You guys can read all through this if you want. This is just giving measurements of the entrance and exit wounds and the path of travel. The nasal bone's horizontally fractured and a piece of the right sphenoid bone is absent. Costochondral cartilage and a femoral bone segment with associated internal marrow are sent for potential toxicology, I guess that is. Femoral bone segments and a molar tooth are retained for law enforcement for potential DNA. Hey, toxicology. Nothing detective. Comprehensive drug screen of the bone, the right proximal femur, nothing detected. Comprehensive drug screen on other, the costal cartilage, which I believe is the teeth and everything, none detected. Costal cartilage, that would be like the cartilage that they took from the face area, I guess, sinus. And there's a bunch of stuff blocked out here. It's been redacted. Look at this. You can tell right here. It's been redacted. This is going to be very repetitive, you guys, so I may just be going through this. Case narrative. Yeah, they're talking about identifying the remains and everything again, so we're just going to they're all leaf and litter soil is placed into clean 5-gallon buckets and sifted. This is very much what we heard at the beginning, but I will scroll through it, so if you guys do want to stop and read it, you can. Dry adipocor was observed on elements of the hands and feet. Upon initial examination, these remains were skeletonized and lacked the odor of decomposition. Small amounts of thin, dry cartilage were observed on many of the long bone joint surfaces. A total and aquatic decomp score for these remain a TADS 8. So that would, for the month and a half that he was in that reserve, it would equal to nearly 2 years, if I'm reading that right. So using an average ambient temperature of 26.1, average humidity of 79.6, a maximum decomposition score, the maximum postmortem interval of 60.05 days was produced. Skeletal inventory and minimum numbers of individuals. This individual was remarkably complete. The cranium was fragmentary and comprised of 35 fragments. The cranium was reconstructed using the Duco cement. Post-reconstruction, 8 cranial fragments ranging from size 2 to 4 centimeters. From the sphenoid and orbital plate of the frontal could not be reattached. All of the remains present for analysts were metaphorically consistent without irregular duplication. These were the remains of one individual. In addition, the human skeletal remains that were analyzed, non-human remains, were also recovered. The incomplete skeletons of 2 Suscophia, a boar, and 1 metaphodil from Bose Trois, a cow bull, were present. So there was bones from a cow bull and a boar. The macroscopic analysis of these remains were conducted to estimate biological skeletal age at death. All secondary centers of ossification were completely fused, which indicated that this descendant was an adult. The midline and lateral cranial structures were evaluated. The method produced age ranges from 28 to 44. Mean age 36, and 20 to 42 years old, mean age 31 years for the midline and lateral. So the midline and lateral showed that it could be 20 to 42 years old, but this is off because he was only 23. This says 28 to 44 for the lateral cranial sutures. Is 28 to 44 years old. The incisive suture was evaluated following Mann and colleagues 1987 and consistent with an age of that looks like over 25 years old. Okay, who's good with this stuff? My sister. Is this over 25 or under? I think under is the other way. I think this is over 25 because under 25 would be the other way. Yeah, greater than 25 years. Yeah, I thought so. I wasn't good in math, you guys. The morphology of the sternal end of the right rib was consistent with stage 3, age range 24 to 28. The pubic area, phase 2, age range 19 to 34. They're saying it would be around 26, and they're also saying 26 years old here and over 25 here. This is 28 to 44. So there's a lot more consistency with somebody over the age of 25 than there is with this one 20 to 42 years old. Oh, this one too is 19 to 34, but they're giving it around the age of 26 and a half years. The auricular surfaces were most consistent with Lovejoy et al. 1985, stage 2, age range 25 to 29, and they're giving 27. There's a lot more saying that this guy was not 23 than there is. There's only 2 that puts him in that, but they give it the age of 26.5 years here and here. By the measurements, it could be somebody between 20 and 42, and they're giving around the age of 31 for the midline and lateral sutures. So most of this is saying that this is not a 23-year-old. This is somebody over the age of 25. And more so, we got 36 years, over 25. We've got 26 years old here. We've got 26.5, 27. So more of the age of the 26 and over. Oh, here's some more. What's this one? This one, the program calculate, okay, total anesthesia, the cranial structures, pubic symphysis, and auricular surfaces program calculating age from 16 to 25. So still, it's up there. And they're estimating the age of 20 now. They corrected it. And these measurements were somebody around the age of 20. They've corrected it, they said, for white males. This finding was consistent with Mr. Brian Laundrie, who's 23. It's the only one that is close to his age out of all the measurements they took. So I don't know. I don't know what that means. So here's some more sex, how they decided what sex the body skeletal remains was. They went by, these are the male traits that they found. They found male traits on the cranium: large mastoid process, blunt supraorbital margin, pronounced glabella, well-developed notchal region with inion hook, and robust mental eminence. The subpubic angle and all that. So that's how they... Okay. Non-metric and metric analysis was conducted to estimate skeletal ancestry. The cranium presented with a long nasal spine, patent nasal sill, narrow nasal. Okay, so they went by facial measurements to see what kind of nationality he was. And it was consistent with the biological description of Brian. The stature, forensic stature, was estimated using the Fordyce 3.1, the Jans and Owsley. I'm familiar with that. Measurements, and the program calculated forensic stature for a white male ancestry groups using a 95% confidence interval at 66.2 to 74.9 inches, approximately 5'6" to 6'2". That's a big jump. This finding was consistent with the known biological description of Mr. Laundrie, who was 5'8". Dental inventory. So marked dental calculus was observed with the most severe form on teeth 23 to 27. Teeth 1 and 16 where molars were impacted, which would have showed up in any dental x-ray. Teeth 17 and 18 had small occlusal caries, maybe a cavity. Teeth 23 to 26 evidenced dental crowding. Central maxillary ancestors, teeth 8 and 9 were labially displaced, procumbent. Teeth 4, 6, 7, 10, 11, and 29 were lost post-mortem. These are just measurements of bones and clavicles and everything else. clavicular origin for the deltoideus muscle was more pronounced on the left than the right. So he might have walked. Did he walk with a limp? Coastal cartilage calcifications were observed on the right and left ribs at 7 to 10. Maybe he had cracked ribs at one time. Perimortem trauma. The analysis revealed perimortem gunshot trauma to the cranium that separated the I can't say it now. Cranium from the facial skeleton along the supraorbital margin. Harmonic change. Okay, so this is when they used a zoom stereo microscope. Specifically, the postmortem had tapophonic change included evidence of carnivore scavenging. Example, pits, punctures, and scoring. A rodent scavenging, parallel scoring, damage. Postmortem staining of the cortical and trabecular bone ranged in color from dark yellowish to brown to reddish brown throughout these remains. That was consistent with the tannic soils and water of the Makachi wetlands. Okay, so the photographs in this appendix have been redacted in accordance with the Florida statute. So we're not going to see this. These are the pictures of the scene when they arrived and what they seen. The remains and everything else. We're not going to be able to see these. Postmortem interval, PMI, estimation in days using the heat. Okay, so these are the scales that they were talking about earlier that they used. Upper PMI, middle PMI, lower PMI for, I think these are 28.9 Celsius is like, I don't know, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, somewhere around there. So this is all temperature and humidity. Humidity was really high. Quantity and completeness of skeletal elements associated with medical examiner. Element frontal 1, completeness 1. They got all. Okay, so these are all the different bones and teeth that they got. They got one of all, a full. There's 2 that should have been there. They only got 1. Yeah, they don't have the thyroid cartridge. And that's like, I don't know why they wouldn't have that. So they have both right and left, all of them. Yeah. Fibula. They have all of the fibulas. They have all of the tibias and femurs. They have 12, saying all. L1 to L5, they have all of them. They have only one of these. metacarpals 1 to 5, right and left. They don't have any. And they don't have the metacarpal 1, 3, and 4 on the left hand. Metacarpal 2 and 5. They have 2, and they have all of it. So like I said, if you do want to read through all this, you guys, you can. But we've already read through this, so they're just listing everything now. Sex estimation, male. Accuracy, 88. So it got 86% accuracy out of 88, 83 out of 85, 82 out of 87. And these are all higher, so... So the probability... measurements of some of these bones. Oh, these are the measurements that they said that we read through earlier to show how much he would have weighed, his height. Oh boy. Or disc output. So this is all lab results. Results coming back from the lab. What's this? Canonical distribution of the 4-disc statistical output associated with medical examiner case. Cool. So this would be like measurement checks and group means. Black female, black male, white female, white male. For these different, I believe these are bones. The difference in size between a black female and a black male, and a white female and a white male. And this is, again, just the percentage of correctness. Who wants to go into forensics? So these are all just the formulations and lab results that they went by in their findings. Like I said, if you do want to go through this, you can pause it and look through it all. That's why I'm just continuing to scroll through it, so it's all here for you guys to see. And here's the appendix. It's just going to go over everything that you just seen, where they got their information, how they got their information, what analysts and charts and etc. were used. Now this is, I guess, a DNA analysis, laboratory report for the DNA. Just letting you know, chain of command, you know what I mean? Manila envelope sealed with evidence tape. 1 specimen cup containing 1 tooth believed to be from Brian. 1 specimen cup containing 1 section of the left proximal femur bone believed to be from Brian. 1 specimen cup containing 1 section of the left distal femur bone believed to be Brian. Manila envelope sealed with evidence tape containing 1 swab. Carton containing 2 buccal swabs from Christopher Laundrie. Manila envelope from Roberta. So they took their DNA to match it against what they found here. Tooth resulted in a DNA profile. There's Christopher and Roberta. And they compared this. They got the DNA profiles from this to compare it to this of Brian's. Sorry about that, guys. It was my mama. I took her out earlier to get a bunch of stuff because she's going to Cuba. And she says it all has to go back. It's too small. So they use CODIS too. So they're showing what matched what. Okay, so what are the DNA profile developed from item 01B, section of the left proximal femur. So the femur that they found is consistent with having originated from the biological child of item 2 and 3, which is Roberta and Chris. Analysts of item 001B. 001B is a section of the left proximal femur resulted in a partial haplotype. This haplotype is consistent with the haplotype attained from item 101A. So that bone, that femur, and that tooth belong to the same person. So that's where I think they're saying there's no way that this is not Brian. Yeah, so they're comparing DNA, the DNA of Chris and Roberta to Brian's DNA, and they're saying that it all matched. And that bones that they found matched the teeth. So the bones and the teeth are from the same person, and those both match to Christopher and Roberta, is what they're saying. Yeah, see, numerical designation for an unknown DNA profile, for example, unknown 1, unknown 2, signifies that the statistics associated with the DNA profile reached the source. So they're saying that there was enough there that matched to say that they were a match. So this is just conversations, I guess, that they had to include. Okay, so they're comparing different curves and different things that they could see in the evidence that matches his orthodontic x-rays and stuff like that. So they matched how they matched these teeth to his x-rays. Yeah, see, the consistencies are the 24 teeth present post-mortem to be compared with the ante-mortem records. So this is how there's a high degree of certainty this victim is Brian Laundrie by comparing their teeth. So That's that, you guys. That's the whole thing. What do you guys think? Imagine if I read through this whole thing, we would be here until 10 o'clock tonight. So I did give the basic, the overall of everything that everybody was, you know, wondering about. I think a lot more information came out that we didn't know before. Yeah, I think you see, I was one of the ones that was holding out that this was not him. That I did not think that this was him. But this is before we knew all of the information that we know right now. So a gun was found. The only thing that I still question is the suicide. I think somebody else could have killed him. I think this could be street justice, and I say, okay, let's leave it be. Let's leave it that he killed himself. Whatever happened, I do believe now he is dead. I know there's going to be a lot that don't agree, but I do believe that this is Brian. Yes, I do believe that it is him, and at least the information is out there now, which gives us more of an indication. Like if they would have said, look, we've got the gun, at least it would have stopped a lot of questions. But I still have one question. Why, if somebody was done, they wanted out, they were checking out, why did he use his left hand to pull the trigger where he could have missed? And he could have laid there. Yes, I do believe it's him, Kate Mecker. I do believe it's him. But I'm still questioning whether it was suicide or if somebody else shot him. Because the only thing that stands out there for me is the shot to the left side of his head when he was dominantly right-handed. He drew. He'd be very precise with his right hand. He was an artist. He drew or whatever. So it's like, why would you take the risk of using your left hand and miss? Right? He's right-handed, Nikki. There's no way that if somebody's going to take their life, they're not going to miss by using the wrong hand. I don't think that somebody would do that. If you want to off yourself and you want to make sure that you're dead instantly so you don't feel the pain, you're not going to use your other hand that you're not familiar with and take the chance of missing and laying there bleeding to death for, it could be hours if you miss the right way. I've seen people get shot in the head before and make it. If you wanted, that's it, I'm checking out, you're going to make sure that you don't miss. So you would use your dominant hand. My opinion only. My opinion only. I got to say that. And if you guys think different, that's okay. I respect your opinion. But my opinion is that if you want to check out and you don't want to lay there in pain, you want to die instantly, you're going to use your right hand. Okay. I know a lot of people can use their right and left hands. It was stated by not only the sister, but the parents, he used his right hand. He was dominant, right-handed. He was a drawer. Everything would have been done with that hand. So that's why I'm saying there's no way, if you want to die, you're not going to take the chance of using your non-dominant hand and missing and not getting it so you're instantly dead, that you lay there in pain. Who would put themselves in pain like that for hours on end? You're going to make sure you use your good hand, and it's going to be a shot that is killing you instantly. You know what I mean? That's my opinion. I think somebody else could have done it. Vigilante. Could be. I'd like to know if that is the gun that was missing from their house. I've shot before too, and I've always used my right. We go clay target shooting and target shooting and clay shooting. No way. I'm not missing. I'm using my dominant hand. I'm using my right hand. But there are some people that use both hands. I don't think somebody is going to use their non-dominant hand if they want to end their life and end it quickly with no mistake and die quick so you're not laying there in pain. There wouldn't be any fingerprints, Francis, on that gun because it was under 3 feet, I think they said, of swamp water. Well, unless his right hand was injured, but we don't know. I just find it, and I'm not saying he didn't use his left hand. What I'm saying is the probability of that happening is very low compared to using your dominant hand to get the job done. That's it, you're gone. Whereas if you use your other hand, you could miss. Unless, okay, so my sister says, unless his right hand was injured when murdering Gabby. But that would have been something that would have been visible to others if he couldn't use his right hand. I don't know. Anything could have happened, but I'm just saying I found it very odd. I've heard of both strawberry wine. I would say I'm more likely to believe a gunshot to the temple area, like right through the head. Boom. But yeah, either way, Sifta, I agree. Either way, it's horrible. It's a horrible story with horrible endings. And we will never really know the truth. We know a lot more than what we did. We now know that they found a gun. We now know that there were shoes and everything there. That had happened like a month before, like 3 weeks beforehand. I can't see how his hand would be too weak to fire a gun from strangling somebody. That just doesn't make sense, sister. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not doing van life anytime soon either. And I mean, it's sad because there's a lot of people that have brought that van life thing to life. This really brought it into the eyes of everybody, being that that's what Gabby and Brian were doing this van life, but it brought it out in a bad light instead of a good light. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Bless you too. Yeah, I agree, Tammy. Nothing from the beginning made any sense. Like, this was a senseless murder of Gabby, senseless murder of Brian. The whole case was just senseless. Like, why didn't you guys just go your own ways? Agree to disagree. You go your way, I'll go mine. Yes, big shout out to the mods. Thank you for jumping on. I know there wasn't much notice for this, but I just got it, so I wanted to bring it to you right away. When I read through like a page and a half, and I said, "Oh my God, they're going to want to hear this." So I said, if I do get things that do come out, I will jump on to bring it to you guys. So that's what I wanted to bring to you guys. And I believe that this is going to be the last of the Brian Laundrie stuff that I do. Anything's possible, Francis. Anything. Yeah, I think Gabby might have tried that too. Like, okay, enough's enough. I'm done. Like, this ain't working. But again, we will never know. Oh, thank you. Yes, there was a lot of questions answered, but there were still some questions that haven't been answered yet, right? And like I said, we can never have 100%. We never, I don't think we ever will. Yep, it went straight across, like not even a centimeter off, straight across. I don't know how common it is, but it's not. I don't know how common it is, but I know that it's not very common, especially if you're not using your dominant hand. Oh, Q Leonard, welcome. Thank you for jumping on. Terry, I don't think we will ever know what's in that notebook. um, the Petito family were able to see all the evidence before it was separated. I do believe they came to some kind of agreement as to who was getting what. And I believe the Laundrie family have that notebook, and they have made it clear that they are not going to share what's in the notebook. Now, whether the Petito family does come out with what they've seen written in the notebook, I don't know. But there might have been a non-disclosure in the agreement that they made. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. If that note does come out, if that suicide note that they say is there comes out, believe me, I'll bring it to you. It's like a 1 in a million that would happen. Go straight through using your non-dominant hand. It's like a miracle. Like everything in the universe would have to line up for that to happen. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't comment on his social history. Why are the mods' messages being deleted? I don't see any. Okay, let me go over here. Cat H. She retracted her own message that she put out. She's not being deleted. You can remove your own messages if you want. The moderators can remove their messages. Moderators can remove subscriber messages. Yeah, retracted, not deleted. Yeah, it is. Stay-at-home mom detective says it's weird if he was dominantly right-handed, and he was. He drew with his right hand. All his drawings were done right-handed and everything. You would think that he would use his right hand. Jakey, no. Jakey says what stands out to me is he went missing from where his car was found. The parents took the car home when they found the waterproof bag. No, the waterproof bag was found on the same day as his remains. Yeah, and mods can't remove other mods' comments. So Right now, I do know that they are still holding it for some kind of investigation, uh, another ongoing investigation, or some kind of investigation. I know that they're still holding it, but it is going to be returned to the Laundrie family. Let's not let's not let's not start any rumors or theories like that, please, regarding the family. Like the sister did it, or the brother-in-law did it, or the mother did it. Let's not do that, please. I just don't want anybody seeing that and thinking that that's what we are saying over here. Shaky says, that's what I mean. The bag was found by the parents from the same place later. What would the social history include and why would they need that? I don't know. Vicious. I really don't know, but with whatever, maybe they told them the reason why they wanted that, but apparently the parents were not going to divulge any of that. Like, was he a loner and stuff like that? I don't think they'd want their son seen in a worse light than what he already was seen in. I don't know. It's weird to me too that they wouldn't answer that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, like was he ever on drugs or stuff like that? Yeah, that could be. Or yes, or mental illness. Did he suffer from anything? But they asked about his social. So maybe they didn't want to. Don't forget, at this time when they were being questioned, they hadn't said that he was their prime suspect in Gabby's death, right? So they wouldn't want to shed any light about his social histories, like, sharing that he was abusive sometimes, or sharing that he was very jealous, stuff like that, because that could be made in the case against him, against Gabby, right? And he hadn't been named the suspect yet in that. Oh, I love you. Oh yeah, they want it under the rug now. Like, stop it, stop it. We don't want no more, no more. Our poor son. Give me a second, you guys, please. Sorry, y'all. It's a dog barking its head off across the street again. These people don't deserve animals, that's for sure. The notebook hasn't been given back yet, that I know of. I know that they said that they needed it for further investigation on something. We don't know what that something is, but I do know that there was an agreement made that the Petitos could get back Gabby's stuff. Oh, I'm so sorry, Francis Dean. Prayers are with you. Oh my gosh. Your mom found him after her walk. Oh, I'm so sorry about that, Francis. Our hearts go out to you. Prayers for you. Okay, you guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this up. I wanted to bring this to you. So you guys got a first look at it. It came out just before I started that I could see. And as soon as I knew it was out, I jumped on right away. So I want to thank all my mods for jumping on with no notice and everything else. Sister, I know you're so busy lately. I know you got a lot going on. But I wanted to shoot you a message saying, Sister, I'm going live, so I didn't get crap for it later for not telling you. Once this live ends, it will be private for a bit, you guys, until I can get the description and everything done in it and add my tags and stuff. So if you are in the middle of this, just to let you know that it will be back up. Yeah, the medical examiner said that the bones were being gnawed on by wolves or wild dogs and stuff like that. They didn't say nothing about gators. So, okay, so I'm going to let you guys all go. It's going on 6 o'clock here. I want to go and get some dinner and rest up a bit. I've got a big day tomorrow. I've got a bunch more reads that I've got to get done, private reads. So I want to get caught up on them. Well, we have nothing going on in the court system right now, but I wanted to jump on and bring you guys this. So you guys were some of the very first to know. Very welcome, sister. I'm going to try and call you in a bit. Hopefully we can connect. You're very welcome, everybody. Yeah, wild boars, wild pigs, wild boars. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for sticking it out till the end. Thank you to my mods. You guys are the best. I started getting a little worried there. Didn't know if I was only going to have the one mod that was going to have to deal with everything. So I'm glad that the others were able to jump in. So thank you for that. I didn't have much time to give much notice. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for jumping in and helping each other out there and helping out us and keeping us all safe here. You guys do an awesome job every time. So until the next time, you guys, please take care of yourselves. Please stay safe. Love you to the moon and back. Bye-bye for now.